Hi, my name is Austin Jansma, and I've been studying how different cinematographers solve lighting problems. So this is a first in a series where I pause the screen and I start breaking down the frames that I'm seeing. And I share my observations and possibly how they lit it. So we're starting off with Dark Wind Season 1. The cinematographer is Paul Elliott, working alongside of gaffer Ray Ortega and key grip Mike Biss. So this is New Mexico desert. They built a visual language especially, I can never say that word right, for the Navajo Nation. What grabbed me actually was the saturation, the high desert feel combined with the control they maintained on exposure even in the harsh sunlight. So I believe they used bounce sources to manage the harsh sunlight. ND filters on camera is a must, and they stopped down on the aperture to hold that depth and detail across the whole frame. So I really believe they did all this so they could preserve the saturation and the grade, right? I'll be breaking down 3 different locations, 3 different lighting situations that they came across, and they solved them with the same visual language. So that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and dig into that. Alrighty, so we are going to be starting off with an exterior scene. Just starting off a little bit light, no pun intended, in all actuality. So I think the camera is actually doing most of the heavy lifting within this scene. So in this scene, you have the special agent and the lieutenant. Something happened and they're having a meeting outside. All right, now for this portion of the scene, what you can see is the sun is coming up through here. There's most likely a bounce that's right here that's lighting his face on this side. I personally don't know what type of bounce that is. It could be a bleached muzz or whichever. But what's also like to shout out to the wardrobe department here, because that is coming out this way, and that white hat is actually actively doing work, because you can kind of tell there's a little bit of sheen coming down from there to get a little bit more light in his eyes right here. So that's actually really cool. Shout out to the wardrobe department and grip team and all that for this angle right here. So earlier I was saying that I think that the camera is doing a lot of heavy lifting, and the reasoning why I'm saying that is because if you can see right here, there's a lot of harsh sun coming across his face, right? That's borderline overexposed, or not overexposed, but it's right there. I really think the DP said, hey, I need for you to stand this certain way. Oh, bread's done. Let me go ahead and get that. I'll be right back. All right, and we're back. Yes, I'm actually making bread for the first time, like homemade bread. I've never done that. That's the one cool thing about Instagram that I really think is really unique, is that people share these things like recipes, bread recipes, banana bread recipes, banana pancake, cornbread recipes, all these different types of recipes, and you get to try them, or you can try them, or whichever. That's actually really cool about social media. Now, let's dive right back in. So what I was saying is that I think the DP actually actively told the special agent to stand a certain way, just so we can get that Rembrandt lighting coming off of his face from the sun that's actively coming through here. Now he must be hot, because he's in that suit, and that's a nice black suit. So not that pertains to the lighting portion of it, but just saying that he's probably pretty hot in that suit. So let's go ahead and continue on. So this is what I'm talking about, where I think that the camera was doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. Because if you see, and this is how I kind of cheat and find a lot of how things were, shot, is I look at the reflections, right? I look at the reflections off of what cannot be really covered up unless you spray it with dulling spray. But I'm seeing his legs here, and it's pushing, that reflection is going on to this building here, right? And then this here is going down. Now, actively, what could be legit is that you're using the desert road, a dirt road, that's actively bouncing light up, because that's sometimes just how it works. Don't let me explain it. Well, I can't explain. So what happens is when the light comes down, it goes on to a lighter color, which is the desert sand, and then it actually bounces off of the desert sand. So you're kind of getting all this slight soft bounce from the desert itself. So that's actually really cool. So let's continue on. All right, well, that was the daytime exterior scene. So let's move on to the next one and see if we can't break it down a little bit more and see how they did things. All right, now we're gonna go and jump into the scene between the lieutenant and the medicine woman. And right off the rip, you can already tell, and actually Bob Richardson likes to do this as well. There's light, a shaft of light coming straight down right from there. And that's going to be bouncing off the table most likely. And the light shaft that's coming down here. So what's happening is that light shaft is actually coming in and bouncing here. It's also most likely have a nice little soft wrap around it as well. So it's also coming in and hitting Talent, the lieutenant here. But there's also some light that's being leaked in over here from some other place. And then there's also light also that's right here that's coming in this way, because as you can see right here, the light is hitting, because that's not a shadow. That's not shadow light. So there's light coming in from here, there's light coming out of here, and then there's some light around here. Now, the only thing is, though, a little bit of research on my end knows that this hut is actually on stage. All right, so as you can see here, exactly, that the light source from the other is, this could be, no, it's not. You have light source, very toppy, coming down, hitting here. Probably have, now I've seen this done only a handful of times, to where there is a circle around the actual muslin, right? So there's the muslin that is all around here, and then there's this cutout, and so the light actually hits through here. So there you can actually have a beam of light, kind of like here. So you have a beam of light, and that's coming down, and then you have this soft wrap that's also happening. This is all very sourcey material. I mean, a very top source for this scene. So look at his eye, right? That means there is a light source coming in from that side. There's a bounce or something happening. Even though the light source is overhead, and you can tell that by the Godfather eyes, and then the fall off right here. Now, very cool is, it's always hard shooting with glasses, and the character is blind, so it's justifiable that she can actually have them down and looking down at the table instead of right at them, because with those glasses, unless they are, wardrobe has the glasses that kind of I've seen them before to where they actually cut down the reflection to where you don't see any of the reflection. You still see the eyes and all that fun stuff, but you don't see the reflections of everything through them, because that just makes it so much harder. Glasses or mirrored aviators are difficult as well. You just got to find different angles when you're shooting with that. Yeah. So there's 4 different shots within the scene. You had the 2 OTSs and the 2 close-ups, right? Now it's common to, especially on TV shows that have fast turnarounds, multi-camera. So these, this could have been probably done in, I don't know the time frame, but probably a 6-hour day for this, maybe, if there was not pre-rigging the night before. But you had B camera getting at the OTS and then A camera getting the close-up, and then flip the world and do it again on the other side. Now how this looks like it, for this scene, it looks like it was shot as a 360 type of scenario, and then maybe brought in a bounce to kind of help with that. Personally, that's also how I like to shoot things, if possible. So that's what's really cool about this hut scene. All right, let's go on to the next one, shall we? All right, so back at it. I've been having a lot of technical difficulties. So I was also trying to find another clip. Couldn't find a clip from season 1 on YouTube. So now I'm looking at the trailer, because there's trailers for, going from season 2, 3, and 4. But now we're looking at the season 1 trailer, which kind of just makes sense because all the cool things are happening in the trailer anyways. But because of said technical difficulties, I am buffering like it's 2001. So I personally have no idea why. It just is. So I'm just going to move around the trailer, and where it stops, I'm going to dissect that portion of it. So as it is right now, we have the moonlight that's here. That's going to be probably on a lift kit coming through. That's hitting right here, and it looks like it's very sourcey, right? You have this gentleman here, silhouette-y. Yeah, sure, why not? But it's actually focused right in here because the moonlight stops over here. We do have some street light that's coming in, hitting right over here, creating some more of that. But the main thing is that moonlight that's raking across. This is very self-explanatory. You have the light source is the flashlight. All right, so basically what's happening here is you have the flashlight that's hitting onto that tub, and then the tub is bouncing that light back. So it's very ingenious to do. I can probably recreate this tonight if I wanted to with my tub. And you can kind of see that the hard source that's in his eyes, that's literally just bouncing right back at him. Very simple. Used the tub as the bounce. So we have the hard light coming in through here, and that's motivated by the windows here on either side, right? And then we have the toppy light source that's going to be coming in from over here, which is the overhead light for the police station. Now what's kind of cool is you can see right here in his eye, there's a glint there. There's some this a white source, so it's probably a bounce that's coming up from the desk, right? So you have hard source coming this way, you have soft source coming this way, and you have a flat surface that has a bounce up. So that's really cool. That's how I'm thinking they did that. Ooh, very noirish. Here we go. So we have the blinds actively doing stuff over here. So they're shooting through the blinds. And so when you're getting the detail of the blinds like that, you actually have to create some space. Because let's say you had the set wall that was here, and then the actual like studio wall was here. So you're looking at this much space. You're not going to get that at all. You're not going to get your shadow reflection, your shadow dancing on the wall for that texture. You have to have some space. And that's just because light quality, foot candles, all that other kind of fun stuff, a lot more technical get down. If you guys want to know more about that, let me know. But yeah, that's actually, it's really cool. You have to have more space to get a hard shadow like that. Also, as you can see, there's some, that light source from the other window is hitting all across here. You have the white pieces of paper, right? So set deck, I see you, is going here for the lights up top, shooting down, bouncing back up, and just giving a little bit, just a little fancy bit there. So that's something that's really, really cool. I can actually show you guys something regarding that. Actually, heck, let's just use maybe even a napkin, right? Just a napkin alone. And I have this source here. Maybe that will give me a little bit. Yeah, you see right here, it's already, just a napkin alone is getting some sort of fill on my face. And that's just, if that's just laying down right here, and I have a little bit of fill on that the napkin. Just this. It's really cool. All right, so let's move on, shall we? Here's another thing right here. So this is very self-explanatory. You have the lamp that's lighting our actress here. Now, here's the fun part, right? So you have light coming all around this area, here, right? So now to dissect this, we have to figure out where our shadows are going, right? You do have this light source here, but I think that's just acting as maybe a little bit of fill. That's not really doing much. I'm thinking that one big light source that was the moonlight back at the motel is now playing here. And we have it acting as her back light, her rim light there. And then it's also, that light is also playing on that bar, and you have that leading line right to talent. So that's really cool. Let's go on to the next one. Here's another prime example of why I fell in love with this show. You can see the slight blues in the sky, right? At least I fell in love with the cinematography of the show. The show is actually really, really great as well. Look at that. Look at that. You're seeing it right there. There's a bounce. There's a bounce right here that's hitting our talent on the face. So it's hitting the sun is doing its thing, and it's shining its light, and it's hitting the bounce that's coming up and getting our talent in the face. And yeah, that's really cool. I don't know if it's probably bleach muzz or ultra bounce, not sure, but camera is also doing a lot here. because of the NDs and probably stopping down with the aperture and things like that to gain a little bit of depth. But it might be 5.6 or an 8, only because of how out of focus she is, but you can still see some definition here and here. So you can see what's going on. If it was a 2.8 and then just massive ND, all this would just be an oil painting for the most part. All right, well, that is it for the Dark Wind's journey on, my observations of how they utilized light and bounced light and shot it through, through the sheriff's station. One thing that I didn't share is how light was actually coming in from both sides. And it was hard light coming in from both sides. That was a little, that's a little fun little thing. Also, there's been 3 continuity mistakes in this video. Let me know what you find. Put them down there in the comment section. But other than that, this is the first one of a series. I'm still learning how to do all this fun stuff. So I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.